Court and had a conversation on the year's highs and lows as far as legislative and representative duty is concerned. I leave you with the views from Cheruiyot right here on KTN Prime. My name is Dennis Aseto. Our sign language interpreter is Meresha Owiti. And to everybody that made this a success, asante sana, good night, and enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Thank you very much. It has been a very eventful year, the year 2023, and a lot of activities have been happening in the Parliament, or rather the Senate, and we're going to have some of the reflections from some of the leaders who've been pushing the government agenda in Senate, and we're going to have a quick interview and, of course, some reflections from the leader of the majority in the Senate, Senator Cheruiyot, to just give us some of his views and his reflections about the year that has been 2023. You've passed so many pieces of legislation. Which are some of those pieces that you really remember that they were so difficult to pass?
The health laws were very difficult because people felt health being a devolved function that we needed to give great strength to our county governments. And I am proud of the work that we did, especially when we were in Turkana. The bills that we considered while there, because it gave us an opportunity to first appreciate, because when you're in Turkana is totally different from when you consider legislation from the comfort of a well manicured and air-conditioned office here in Nairobi. It helps you appreciate the legislative work that you're doing and the need to structure those laws in a particular place. For example, the Facilities Improvement Primary Healthcare Bill. Part of the things that you are doing is we were tying up every resource collected at a particular health center to be used up for the improvement of that particular, facility. Which, if you are here in Nairobi, you think about all the big hospitals are here. Of course, there are hospitals like those that are in the slum areas and not well-to-do parts of this county. But when you're deep in Turkana, then you reflect and know how important that particular piece of legislation is. We wanted, when you're setting up the various boards that are being set in the UHC, to see what is the place of counties, how much say will governors, how much say will we give powers even to county assemblies to legislate on remuneration for community health promoters, their recruitment process, and so on and so forth. So it was one piece of legislation that was difficult to pass because of the sheer level of interest, but also very fulfilling, because I know if actually the last two administrations, from Mwai Kibaki's to President Jubilee administration, President Uhuru, they all tried to roll out UHC and they were not successful. If this administration, and there's no reason why they shouldn't succeed, then it will be a game changer in this republic. Remember how much challenge we all have to face as a country in terms of aiding people that are faced with health challenges. At least as we speak right now, every Kenyan knows a person that is in need of financial assistance for them to meet their health obligations, which is something that UHC tries to address and bring health justice, make sure that everybody is able to access fairly modest or even state-of-the-art health care at the local facilities. That will be quite a big game changer. So that was very fulfilling. Of course, division of revenue, something that we do annually. There were divisions along party lines. Members of opposition have complained about it. Oh, you guys reduced what CRA had proposed. But of course, as leader of majority, I have a global view of what is our financial situation as a country. If it was in my place, I'd give even 400-500 billion. But the question that you must ask yourself is that money available? And the challenge that we continue to face as a country, because this is built on the experience of having served for 2 terms as a member of Budget and Finance Committee. I know that there are many years where we used to come back in April to do a supplementary to reduce, what we had sent to counties, or even worst case scenario, you pass a particular figure, but by the close of a financial year, counties haven't seen that particular money. We are an independent arm of government. If you want to confirm, see the bills that I receive here from the government printer and the bill that eventually are signed by the head of state. There are two different versions. There is what they propose to us, but eventually we do our work through our committees.
You came to the office with so many promises as the Kenya Kwanza administration. The cost of living is still high. The fuel prices are still high. What are you doing as a part of the government to solve this issue?
We are addressing those challenges. To me, the president has done exceptionally well. He's done exceptionally well given the circumstances, both within and without of our borders, some of which are within our control, some of which are beyond our control. Interestingly, I saw a newspaper article the other day of October 2003, when President Mwai Kibaki had come into office, about 10 months. Actually, it was a Standard, you know. And it was reporting that Kenyans at that particular time were saying, no, we got the wrong man. Things are tough. They're worse than what used to be. That's typical of us as a people. If I asked you today, go and produce for me a newspaper article or a video clip of Kenyans celebrating and saying things are okay now, you will never find it. There is no time that we as a people will ever be in a position where we say, now we are happy and things are okay. It's always about striving to try and make things better. And that is what the president has done. He's trying to address the very basic things. Bringing down the cost of living is not something that, there's no magic wand that you spin around and things change. It's actual work that has got to be put in, and that work has been put in. You know what is being done in the agriculture sector with the fertilizer subsidy program and the attempt to bring down farm inputs, and the plans that are being made to put together mega dams and making water available for people to be able to cultivate and farm. Therefore, these things are being addressed, but the truth of the matter is that it takes time. As I say, Rome was not built in a day.
You have been, I don't know, is it Xing on X about some of the officers of the president and their performances? Do you have some that you think are not performing to the level that is expected?
That's our primary duty as a legislature. Mm-hmm. It is to be, to keep the executive in check. You do it privately first because they are our team members. But if you feel that there are those that have gone overboard despite the private warnings, then you bring it out in the public so that they know people are dissatisfied for one reason or the other. Mm.
Yeah. Which CSS do you think should are being reprimanded privately and should be shown the door?
It's too early, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. 1 year is such a short time to judge anyone harshly. Of course, there are those that have done exceptionally well. I wouldn't wish to name any, unfortunately, because if to name is to exclude the others, it's a space that I wouldn't wish. Most of them, by and large, are still setting in pace what we agreed and the promises that we made to the people. Of course, turning the wheels of government is not that easy, especially given our economic situation. Remember, all these policies require resources, which are scarce at the moment. So I believe most of them, the correct year to judge them is 2024. That particular time now, then we can say Minister X has done exceptionally well. Minister Y, even if you give him 10 years, will never succeed.
So you also sat in the National Dialogue Committee, the Bombers of Kenya were there with you. Mm-hmm. What do you think was the biggest achievement of that committee?
That we were able to bring the country together, despite the fact that we started from north and south on almost every position, from IBC, cost of living, I don't know what. By the time we were starting, we could hardly greet each other. But by the time we signed on the report a few weeks ago here in Nairobi, we had managed to bridge the gap at least significantly. There are one or two issues which we still read from a distant script, issues of perspective. How they view it is not necessarily how we view it, and that's expected. That's the nature of life. You're never bound to agree on everything. It made things better. But we succeeded to calm down the very negative political situation that existed in the country. Demonstrations every day and people hating on each other. Businesses could not move I consider that to be a greater achievement, perhaps one of the best, actually, achievements that we've done, because political risk is not something to joke about. Look at the situation that is happening now in many parts of the world where people disagree politically. All else lacks meaning. It doesn't. You can have the soundest of fiscal policies. You can have the best of strategies on agriculture. But if the political risk of your country is not properly managed, you can't even attract investors. People can't work. You can't produce. Before you know it, your economy is in doldrums. Therefore, it was important to mitigate and close a gap and hear each other out and try and close ranks on that particular issue. So to me, that was extremely important, and I'm glad to have been part and parcel of the team.
And let's now talk about your county, the county you represent, Kericho County. There have been some wrangles, some issues between the MCA, the governor, and the deputy. How are you resolving that? How are you helping the county move forward?
Previously, there was a disagreement in the assembly in terms of leadership. So reached out to the party leadership and said, if it was left to me alone, there's a way I'd handle. But given that this is your own county, all these people that are disagreeing are members of a county assembly that you need to work with, then wisdom prevails that you need to speak to the powers that be. So fortunately, the deputy party leader, who's the deputy president, agreed to host our members of county assembly. And they came, sat down in his office, they had a talk, and agreed on what needs to happen. They installed new leadership, and that leadership continues to serve up to date with very minimal challenges since that particular time. So whatever they agreed at the deputy president's office, they have honored up to date, and I'm proud of that particular incident, how they sat, they decided, and installed a leadership that worked for them. On the feud between the governor and his deputy, we equally set up a meeting between the two of them and members of their team, the people that perhaps were disagreeing publicly. We had a long meeting, again chaired by our deputy party leader, the deputy president, and we are grateful to him for always finding time to listen to our issues and resolve them amicably. Since that particular time, about 3 months ago, they have been working together. There have even since been changes. The deputy governor has been granted more duties, actually, and he's able to work now better with his boss.
You rise from the bottom up to this level, and it's a great inspiration to the youth, myself included. What's the secret, and what can you tell the youth?
Be out there and don't be apologetic about it. If you believe in something, go for it and work hard at it. You've got to work extremely hard because it's never easy. It's what young people say, kujituma. You must be willing to roll up your sleeves and get to work, get your hands dirty, because nobody will grant you the opportunity. I didn't know anybody in the party hierarchy by the time I came in 2015. In fact, our deputy party leader at that time, President Ruto, I met him after I had gotten the certificate of a party. I'd never seen him, never met him anywhere. But because I knew how these organs, I'd just seen him from a distance, but I knew how the organs of the party work. You have got to send yourself, be available, learn the ropes, and grateful to serve now as a majority leader of a party that he leads, because it's interesting working with him. The man works extremely hard, and it's a pity people don't appreciate. But then I'm happy because I know he doesn't live for cheap glory. Some of the things as a leader that you do them not if he wanted, if President Ruto wanted to come and be popular and just think about the next election and people to still applaud him, then he would have come and done the easy things and live the ordinary way. People make noise about taxes, you reduce, you put on subsidy. But what